Welcome to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Thursday, February 18th at 9:30 in the morning, I'm going to attend a ribbon cutting ceremony at Our Lady of Guadalupe Academy, located at 227 Center Street, for their science fair exhibition. Later that afternoon at 2 o'clock, I'm going to attend a street sign dedication for Mr. Vaughn Lee, located on the corner of Magnolia Avenue and Front Street. And on Saturday, February 20th at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll join members of Missionaries on a Mission at their coat distribution event held at the Greater Holy Tabernacle United Church, 652 South Park Street. And also that evening at 7 o'clock, the Elizabeth Portuguese Lions Club's 37th anniversary. A dinner will be held at the Portuguese Instructive Social Club located on Highway 1. On Monday, February 22nd at 9:30 in the morning, I'm going to join Tete Antonio, the ambassador of Angola, Africa, and Elizabeth residents in raising the Angolan flag in front of City Hall. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. And after these short messages, I'm going to be back and joined by three couples in the city of Elizabeth who met here, went to school here, married here, still reside here in celebration of Valentine's Day 2016. Please stay with us.
We have some of the finest teachers in the country. And then they graduate. Kean University.
Welcome back to Our City, and before I introduce our first couple, I want to thank the Flower Puff located at 1067 Elizabeth Avenue, which has donated flowers for this evening's show, and also Parador Rojo, a new restaurant, number 2 it's called, at 582 Morris Avenue, just down the street from Kean University, for donating dinner for the couples that have joined us on the show. Our first couple this evening, I feel like I'm in the newlywed game. Our first couple this evening is Mr. and Mrs. Jose Cuevas. Yvette and Jose. Yvette, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jose, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, Jose, you've been on the show before, right? You worked for the city on home improvement and things, right?
No, I was also with Community Access when Sid was involved. We did an interview. Of course, Yvette's brother was part of their program.
Now you're dating yourself, Jose. That's been a while.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
So, Yvette, tell us, how did you and Jose meet?
Well,
And then I'm going to ask Jose the same question to see if it matches.
really, we were raised together. You know, he lived on the top floor, I think.
Third floor.
Top floor,
Third,
and my parents lived on
second
the
story.
first floor.
So you like met in the sandbox?
Kind of, yeah.
Like little kids in the sandbox?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Our
know?
families go back
So when
to
I
Puerto
was
Rico.
born, he went downstairs to see me.
You did.
And that's how we met.
And you remember that moment?
No, but he does.
But he does? You remember that moment, Jose?
I don't think
No.
so.
No, I didn't think
I
so.
don't think so.
So
You know?
your first date, tell us about that, Jose. Was that at your urging? Was that Yvette? How did that first date?
No. Yvette's father, I had to go and ask his permission to court her, even though the families knew each other going back to Puerto Rico. And then when I got his permission, then I used to, go over the house, and eventually we got to go to the movies, right?
With my brother.
With
your
her
brother?
brother. Oh, yeah.
So you weren't allowed to go to the movies without your brother?
Exactly. We have to chaperone.
Did he like sit next to you, or is he 4 rows behind you?
No, in fact, he was right in back of us.
He used
Right?
to laugh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So your first date was the movies. Was it in a movie theater in Elizabeth, or which theater?
I believe it was the Liberty.
The Liberty Theater. And do you remember what you saw?
That I don't remember.
I wasn't watching no movie.
But her brother was watching you.
That's all right.
I really don't remember.
Miguel
the
was
movie.
cool.
So when did it click? When did you realize that this was going to be it for the two of you?
You're asking me or Jose?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
We were at a family function. I remember it was like a baptism in the hall. And he came in with his brother and a cousin of ours. And I saw him. I said, wow, you know, and then he asked me to dance, and from then on, it was magic.
So it clicked with you before you even went on the first date.
Yep.
Jose, how about you?
Well, I remember before I went into the service, there was a party, and Yvette was 13, and I was 17. And I remember talking to my older brother, said, man, Yvette, she's gonna look good when she gets older, you know? And then when I got out of the service, 73, we were close with her brother, older brother, my older brother. We all got together, a bunch of the cousins, and bought a bunch of crabs. And we went over the house, and then I went to say hello to her mom and dad. And then Yvette was in the bedroom, you know, and with her mother and father's room. And I looked and I said, damn, that was it.
That was it. So it was early.
That was
it. Was
it.
even before you started dating. You both knew this was going to be it. So how many years are you married now?
41. It'd be 42 in November.
42 in November. That's good. Now, who proposed to whom and how?
We were talking about that. I don't
So
think
was it a mutually
there was
agreeable
really
decision?
no proposal.
It
It was
wasn't.
just Jose just kept saying we're going to get married and so, and I said, okay, you know, that was it. You know, it wasn't like would you marry me or anything. We just.
So you had to ask permission for the first date, but you didn't have to ask permission to get married from her dad.
No, I had to go back to him and
Oh,
tell
you
him
did?
and say, look, you
How'd
know,
that conversation go?
he was rough, this guy.
This guy was rough.
I mean, you had to love him, but he was a character. But when I told him, you know, look, you know, I want to see if we can make plans because I want to marry your daughter. He goes, well, it's about time. How long did it take? You know, I mean, like it was a trip.
So
But,
he was given his blessing in his
own way, yeah.
In his
in
own
his own
way.
way. Yeah, he was a good guy.
So you have tell us about children, grandchildren, Yvette.
We have a son. He'll be 40 in June, and my daughter, 35, Jose and Yasmin.
Jose and Yasmin, who I've met on numerous occasions.
Right. In fact, I
But
think
they
Yasmin
each
was one of your
they each have
students.
one child. Who has the children?
They both will have one child each.
Okay.
Emmanuel is 4 years old, and Jose Daniel is 5.
5. And what do you think of the grandkids?
Oh,
Is it easier than children?
oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we could spoil them and give them right back.
Give her. And you don't have to worry about them anymore, right?
Nah, there's a magic.
No, we
there.
love it. We love it. We love being grandparents.
Tell us about you. Born? Were you born here, or were you born in Puerto Rico? Both of you.
I was born and raised here.
You were. And Jose?
I was born in my grandmother's bed in Vega Baja, Puerto Rico.
Okay, but you were basically raised here, right?
Came to Elizabeth in 1955,
And so never left.
except for 3 years in the military.
So tell us about some of the favorite things in Elizabeth, growing up maybe, or dating or something.
Well, I know with the guys in our family and everything, we lived down the port mostly. So did a lot of swimming in Arthur Kill. Parents didn't know, but you know, I almost drowned there twice.
So
But,
that's a favorite thing? You went swimming in the Arthur Kill and almost drowned?
Hey, that's what we used to
We're
do.
gonna have to, what do you think of that one,
Yeah,
Yvette?
that's what we used to do. Yeah, it was fun, you know. But you know, when you don't have much, you take advantage
know.
of what you got.
And
we
it's,
had a lot of
it's
family.
funny that that's his favorite, you know, one of his favorite things. And I remember when I was maybe I would say maybe 6 or 7 years old, my dad used to take us to the waterfront. But there used to be a big playground there. I don't know if it was a big playground. This is what I remember.
At 6 or 7, it was a big playground.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
was
I
big.
remember sandbox. I remember swings, and I remember my dad taking us there in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was a lot of fun.
You enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
So, last question, keys to a happy marriage and a long-lasting marriage.
Patience. Right, a lot of patience.
A lot of patience.
And remember to tell each other that we love each other.
Jose?
And don't stay angry long. You know,
That's the key, right?
No, don't stay angry long.
So Parador Rojo would like you to have dinner on them. So
Oh,
if
great.
you'll go, and I thank you for joining us on the TV show
Thank you
and
for having
sharing
us.
some of your stories. We're going to have 2 more couples follow you after this to talk about their experiences in Elizabeth. And on behalf of all of us in the city of Elizabeth, happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
For Jose and Yvette Cuevas, please stay tuned after these messages where I'll be joined by another couple from the city of Elizabeth.
We're an American original. Dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started. Welcome back to the second segment of a special Valentine's Day program on our city. For this segment, I'm pleased to be joined by the Reverend Edward Townsend and his wife, Barbara Townsend. Barbara, Ed, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell us, how many years you're married?
17,331 days.
17,331 days. Divided by 365, that's got to equate somewhere around 40-something years.
47 and a half years.
47 and a half years.
But who's counting?
But who's counting, yeah. So where did you both grow up in Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and who met who? Did you meet him? Did he meet? How did that
I
happen?
think we was at his cousin's house, and I was already there. He came in, and it was just she introduced us to that, and that was it. But after that, I got a bad cold, and she was telling him, because I lived next door, and she was telling him that she has a cold. So give her a buzz. I mean, go visit her. So naturally, he did, and so after maybe I was sick for about maybe a couple of weeks. So after almost seeing him almost every night, then you start looking forward to that. Then you start fixing yourself up a little better. Doing your
Even
hair.
though you were sick, you were fixing yourself up, huh?
Even though I was. So you look forward to that. So that was in August. Yeah, we met in I'm sorry. We met in August and October. We met in October. We first met in October, and from there it just took off.
You remember it the same way, Ed?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Everything she said is right.
Oh. Is that the key to a successful marriage?
Yes.
I asked that question of the Cuevases. So everything she says is right
Yes.
is the key.
Is the key.
Oh, okay. So who proposed to who? Was it
It actually wasn't a proposal. It really wasn't
That's
a
what the
proposal.
last couple said.
I know. It just kind of, things just kind of went there. And I mean, all I know, and I remember the February, just the following year, that I was planning a wedding.
so that quick?
That quick. So it doesn't take a long time to get married. I hear a lot of people say, well, I had to get to know him. I had to get to know her. We did all this within 10 months.
Really, Ed? And what's the key to that?
Well, when I saw her, I said, wow, I've been praying for a wife, and the good Lord just answered my prayer.
And you're married 47 or 17,000 X days, but children, grandchildren?
We have 2 wonderful daughters. We have 4 grandchildren, 2 boys and a girl, and we have 8 great grands. I mean, they're having them so fast I can't even keep up with them. 8 great grands.
8 great grands.
Yes.
Great grands.
2 daughters to 8 great grands. That's pretty good.
true.
So
Yes.
that's congratulations. Now,
Thank
your first date after you got out of the sick bed, Ed, do you remember where? Did you go out to a movie or to dinner or for a bite or church, or what did you do for your first date? Do you remember?
For our first date, we went to her cousin's house.
So it
to
was
visit in Elizabeth.
in Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Strictly you remember it that way?
Yes, and I think he kind of, well, it actually was my mother's uncle, my great uncle, and I think he kind of, I'm not sure whether he encouraged that or he thought it was the right thing to do, because he was talking, him and his wife was kind of talking marriage, and I hadn't even thought about it, you know. So I guess after that, that was put in my spirit, I guess. And
So
after,
he was talking about it. You
no,
weren't.
my uncle was
Your
talking
uncle
about
was
it,
talking
and kind of like fell on us,
Okay.
about this marriage.
And it just kind of happened, right?
It
Just
kinda-
same thing with the Cuevas.
Really,
it
it
just
kind of
happened.
happened.
Okay.
It really kind of happened. Then after that, we we did the New York scene because he thought we was grown enough to go over there all over New York. So and every time we went out, we went over. And it was fun taking the bus to New York, 112 to New York.
The 112. I remember that bus. I do. I do.
So that was the highlight of our
So
dating scene.
who handles the cooking in the house?
I do.
All of it?
All of it.
He cannot.
No,
Not at all.
he
So
cannot.
if he's going to make dinner, he makes reservations.
Thank you.
Is that what he does?
That's
Yeah.
what he does.
So, and Ed, what's your favorite meal?
I like
What does she
Fish.
make the best? Should I say?
everything she make is the best.
You're good at this, huh? I have to learn these statements because in my house, I haven't said things like that, so I better start practicing. Thank you. Yeah. So everything she makes is the best.
Oh yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And you're clearly the cook. There's no
Yes,
doubt
I
about it. So, hey, they're playing our song. Do you got a favorite song? They're playing our song.
Well,
What
see,
song
I'm
are they
still,
playing?
Yes, I'm still the doo-wop because I'm a baby
Yeah.
boomer. So the doo-wop is my era. So I think it's In the Still of the Night.
In the still of the night. You agree with that one, Ed?
Yes,
whatever she
yes.
says, right?
Oh yes, yes. I kind of like the Temptations. I got all their
Okay.
music.
So who saves money and who spends it? Both?
I have to say that I do spend money, but then I also save.
Okay.
So
you-
it's like that. You don't spend everything. You have to, because the rainy day is coming.
So would the two of you consider yourselves opposites or similar?
Well, when we first met, everybody was surprised that we was talking marriage because I am complete opposite of him. But you'd be surprised as you get older.
He's cracking up.
As you get older, you really start becoming as one. You start thinking like him, or he starts thinking like you, and that's
Well, if I
surprising.
ask Ed, I would say he's thinking like you.
You're right.
Right. So, well, I want to thank the two of you for taking the time to join us on the show. And Parador de Rojo would like you to join them for dinner.
Oh,
They've
thank you.
given you a gift certificate, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
I will. Thanks.
So
again.
sit there for one more minute, and we're going to bring on our next couple.
Okay, thank
So
you.
for Ed and Barbara Townsend, please stay with us after these messages, where I'll be joined by our third couple from the city of Elizabeth, the Russells. Welcome to the final segment of our Valentine's Day special on Our City, where I'm joined by Dan and Ann Gleason Russell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so how many years married for you guys?
And
57.
57.
Yeah.
And Dan, you remember the first date?
the first date, yes. We went out for a New Year's Eve party, I think, down at the Villa Roma on Lidgerwood Avenue.
The Villa Roma.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
exist-
remember that. The really thin sliced pizza.
Exactly, right.
right.
They used to call it La Beats even at that time.
La Beats?
La Beats, yeah.
It was just another name for pizza.
Pizza.
Oh.
But Lebeats was how it was referred to back then,
Back
which
then.
was back in the 50s.
So, both born and raised in Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yes.
And
yeah.
what part of Elizabeth are you from, Ann?
The same house I live in now, Shelley Avenue in Elmora, and Dan lived on Keats.
Okay.
And we were connected by Byron, so it was the very romantic poet area.
That's right. So how did you meet? And did you?
Well, Dan was a friend of my brother's. I had a twin brother, and he used to kind of come around with Tommy, and that's how we met.
Okay.
Somebody told me you ought to see Tommy Gleason's sister. She's good looking.
Yes.
So I did. I
Sounds
made
like
a
the last
finger.
two couples. Yeah. The one guy sneaking in on the 13-year-old.
That's
Right.
But we
So-
dated for 5 years before she finally said that she would make it permanent.
So tell us about that. How did that work? If you dated for 5, did you want to get married earlier, or she was saying no?
No, it was. I think she was away at college, and I was in the Army for a while, and time just went on, and she had many dates, but I used to hang around all the time, and finally. She figured she couldn't get rid of me anymore, so we may as well make this thing permanent.
Is that what happened? You had many dates and you couldn't get rid of him?
Well, he worked for the FBI at the time when I first got out of college, and I'd worked the dates around his working for the FBI, and we ran a little close a few times where a date was coming and he had to leave for work, and my sister and I were trying to scoot him out, but anyway.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. But when we were on our honeymoon, we celebrated 5 years of dating because we were married at Christmas time, so we were away for New Year's Eve. So it was 5 years before that we had our first date.
Okay, now did you have to ask a father for permission?
No, both her mom and dad had died before we got married. But I had to ask her brother, and he was a little bit skeptical because he knew me from playing basketball.
Oh, he did.
But
so he wasn't crazy about the idea then?
No.
Oh, okay.
But we were good friends.
So your first date in the city, the New Year's Eve party was at the Villa Roma, so your first date was in the city of Elizabeth. You both grew up in the city of Elizabeth, and you still live here.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah, right.
So
I lived in the North End until I was a senior at Jefferson High School, now Elizabeth High. And then I moved up to Elmora my senior year, and that's where I met her brother, and then through her brother.
So where in North End were you when you lived there?
I started on Alina Street, and then I think when I was 7 years old, I moved over to Pennsylvania Avenue, where I lived until I was 18 in 1950. Then I moved up to Keats and was up there until I met Ann. We got married, and then I moved one block over to Shelley.
Okay, and you grew up in that house?
I grew up, and my grandparents bought it in 1928. When the highway was coming through, my grandfather had a grocery store, and the state bought his property for $6,000, and with that $6,000, he bought the house on Shelley Avenue. So we've never had a mortgage, nor did he.
Nor did he.
No.
So you grew up. That's the same block as Judy Blume, right? So you
exactly.
The noted author.
Oh, sure.
You
I
grew
knew
up
Judy.
with her then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
She was Judy Sussman.
Judy, right?
Yeah.
So who's the spender? Who's the saver?
I'm the saver, right, Ann?
Yeah, pretty tight with the.
pretty tight with it.
But she always
squeezes
complains
the
that I'm
nickel,
tight with a
pretty
dollar.
tightly.
Tight with a nickel, huh?
Yeah, but we really, neither of us are spendthrifts.
Okay.
But he, holds on to a car for 15 years and things like that. But I probably spend more than he does.
Okay. Now, children and I know some of your children, all of them actually, but children and grandchildren, you have a few.
We have 4 children. We have Danny, the oldest, who lives in Holland, and John
He's
is
teaching over there, right?
He's a teacher, he's a professor at the university over there, and John is the lawyer. He's in Cranford now, and
So he followed in your footsteps.
he did. Yeah, after a while, it took him a while, but and then Colleen, my daughter, whom you know, is she's out in Colorado. And then Jimmy, my youngest, is, and he lives in Cranford, and he's a carpenter.
He's a carpenter.
Yeah.
So how many grandchildren?
We have 4. Jimmy and Natalie in Cranford have 2, boy and a girl. And Colleen out in Aspen has 2 girls.
2 girls. What do you think of the grandkids?
Oh, I love them. But they were, all there at Christmas time, and the noise level can be a little high than what we're used to with just the 2 of us. But it's great to have them. And there's nobody really little anymore. But the 2 oldest girls are 15, then one 13 and one 12.
So who does the cooking?
Ann.
All of it?
All of it.
All of it, yeah.
Except he's into soup these days. And so when the blizzard was coming, he brought in a supply of soup. So we can open a can of soup and heat that up.
You can do that.
He can do that.
That's it, though.
But
That's
other than that, not too
Well,
much.
the last couple on the show, the Townsends, he said that, I said, what does she cook good? And he said everything.
Yeah,
So you have a similar answer to that?
Ann was good with Irish stew, and also she's a great baker of
apple pie. Apple pie is the word.
Apple pie, right.
Apple pie is a favorite, huh?
Right.
So the opposites attract question. Do you consider yourselves opposites, or would you consider yourselves similar?
opposite.
Definitely.
He likes shoot 'em up movies, science, etc. I like a musical, happy ending. I like fiction. He likes nonfiction, but we've managed to share.
Share.
Right.
You would agree with that assessment?
I absolutely, right, yes.
So I want to thank the two of you for taking the time to join us on the show. And Parador de Rojo, which is a new restaurant, number 2, opened on Morris Avenue in Elizabeth,
Great.
right near Kane University. You probably pass it numerous times.
Okay.
But they would like you two to go there for dinner some evening, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
We
Be
will.
only too
I
glad.
will.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we will.
I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show and wish you many, many more years of happiness.
Well,
Thank you
thanks
very
very
much.
much. Appreciate it.
For Dan and Ann Russell, for Barbara and Ed Townsend, and for Yvette and Jose Cuevas, I want to thank the 3 couples who not only met here in the city of Elizabeth, but married and remained here in the city of Elizabeth, raising their families, in celebrating Valentine's Day on our city. So from my family to yours, happy Valentine's Day, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.